welcome to QETV Live Show with your host, Miss H. We have an exciting show today for you. Today, we're going to talk about natural health. So right now, what I want you to do is go on YouTube, tune in to voxwave.com and subscribe to the YouTube channel and go to VoxWave live streaming. I am live right now on the YouTube channel, VoxWave live streaming. And when you subscribe to VoxWave, you will get me live. I'm here in Camp Spring, Maryland at QET Live Show with your host, Miss H. We have an awesome show lineup for you today. Our special guest today will be the renowned Dr. J.L.Johnson, who is called the Aloe Man. So if you have any questions or comment, go on live and type them in and let me know, and we can ask him those questions. Or he just probably will answer a lot of your questions that you already are thinking about, because he's a very prominent doctor and he is full of wisdom to share with you on natural health. Can you believe today is November the 8th? We're almost at the end of 2018. We're in the special month. I call it Giving Thanks Month. So, you know, right now, look for a special food bank or donate to your church or help a homeless organization. Just look for ways to give this month. Look for ways to be thankful. This is a season of Thanksgiving, and Christmas is just around the corner. But we first want to just celebrate this time of the year, just giving thanks and being thankful for everything and that you can be grateful for. Again, right now, I want you to go call, text, email, or Instagram, or, you know, call up 6 people and let them know you're watching QETV Live Show with your host, Miss H. Dr. Johnson will be calling in very soon. If you have a question right now before he calls in, if you want to call in a question, you have a window of space right now to call me at 249-719-2560. Because once he calls in, we have one line in the studio. We will not be able to take your call. So you have a window of space right now. If you have a question that you would like to ask Dr. Johnson, call me right now at 240-719-2560, and we will ask him those questions. Again, Dr. Johnson is a natural health doctor. He's created a number of products that he will talk about today on the show. 3 of the products that I'm currently taking now is the Immune Force product, and this is one of my favorite, is the Gap Pill. He's also known as the Aloe Man, and we're going to ask him how did he get that name, the Aloe Man. But the Gap Pill is for regulation, blood pressure regulation. I hear a call right now. Caller, are you there?
I am here.
Hi.
This is Dr. Johnson calling in.
Oh, hi, Dr. Johnson. How are you today?
I am just great.
Good. I was just getting ready to introduce some of the products that you sent me to try, and I was just letting the viewers know that these 3 that I've been trying, the Body Healer, the Gap Pill, and the Immuno Force, have been tremendous for the last 3 weeks I've been taking it. And one of the benefits of the Gap Pill that I've been taking, I shared with the viewers last week that back here this summer, because I was spending the summer eating a lot of sugary foods and sugary drinks, I was waking up with a lot of headaches in the morning. I don't know why in the morning. Maybe you can answer that question for me. But it seemed like as soon as I would wake up in the morning, I would experience a little slight dizziness and headaches. And I would take a Excedrin or Tylenol and it would go away. But I was experiencing it a lot. But since you've sent me the GAP pills and I've been taking them, I have not, and this is a statement of truth, I have not been experiencing it. I know I need to continue, but I can see the results of it. And as far as the body healer, I've been seeing my BM being a little more regular since I've been taking it. So it is working. But enough of that right now, since we have you on the phone. Let me just read a little bit about Dr. Johnson and introduce him to my audience out there. He's called the Aloe Man, and definitely, Dr. Johnson, I want you to share with the viewers, how did you get that name, the Aloe Man? But Dr. Johnson is a natural health product company, the Aloe Man, and his company is a natural health product company. It was founded by Dr. J.L.Johnson. Dr. Johnson is the owner and CEO of the Aloe Man, Inc. Is trademarked. His name has been trademarked. One of the few companies that provide health information from a natural approach. And that's what I'm really interested in, and a lot of my viewers are interested in, the natural way of getting healed and feeling better. With a lot of affiliate offices, quite a few. He's in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Dallas, Portsmouth. Now, I wasn't sure if that Portsmouth was in Virginia or in New Hampshire, because there's two Portsmouth cities, Montego Bay and Jamaica, and the West Indies. So he has quite a few affiliate offices all over the place. The company provides health information not only throughout the U.S. and the West Indies, but throughout the world. So Dr. Johnson is not just based here in the United States, but he has other affiliate places throughout the world. Dr. Johnson has put his voice and his knowledge to the use by producing his very own radio show called Health Talk Magazine, which is a broadcast daily on radio and television stations. And Dr. Johnson can share with you that are watching QETLive show how to watch his show live each week. He has a talk magazine. His station is across the nation. He can be viewed across the nation. Health Talk Magazine has helped strengthen and enlighten millions of people. For the past 34 years, Dr. Johnson has been one of the few herbal nutritionist doctor. And right now, with no further ado, I would like to welcome to QETLive show live right now, Dr. Johnson. Dr. Johnson, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on, and thanks for giving that little bit of information about myself. And I'm just always glad to give information to the public so that they can better their health naturally.
Now, how did you get the name, the Aloe Man? Where did that originate from?
Well, you know, it started over 38 years ago.
Uh-huh.
You know, when I really was in the insurance business, but my mother was sick. She was always a woman that, or like many people out there, she had high blood, high sugar, she had high cholesterol, and she was on insulin. And I would always say to her throughout the years, Mother, you're taking the drugs, but you're not getting any better. In fact, isn't it time that you make a change? She said. I said to her, and she said, "Well, I'm doing what my doctor says now." But then she got worse, and then she finally agreed that okay, I will go the natural way. And so that sort of put me in a little, you know, I called you on your word, that type of thing. So then I started looking for products that would help her, and I couldn't find any products that would help her. So I said, okay, So if I can't find the product, then I will make it. So then I got with a chemist and an herbal formulator, and we formulated this product called GAP, G-A-P. It's a combination of garlic, aloe, parsley, and spirulina. And I did the research on all of the ingredients, and when we put it together in a certain way, and a certain strength, and brought it back and gave it to her, and she began to take it, and then her doctor took her off her high blood pressure medicine, her sugar medicine. She was off the insulin, and she started looking really good and losing weight on this one product. And so that's when we started marketing the product. But at the time, we were marketing, we had another product there which was all aloe based.
Uh-huh.
And then, so there's aloe was also in the Gap pill, so we just said, okay, let's just call ourselves the Aloe Man. And that's how that started.
Oh, okay. So you trademarked that because, I was taught as a kid that, anytime you had bruises or, once the sore heal, that you can take some fresh aloe from the aloe plant, rub it on you, and it could help reduce the scarring and speed up the healing process. Is that pretty much true, what we were doing as children and as in our homes?
Absolutely. And it is still true today. Aloe is one of the most pervasive plants that God gave us to use for so many different types of ailments that we can use on the body. So it is absolutely true, and it's still true today. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to put it in my product.
Oh, okay. Now, is it true about with aloe that it has to be regulated where in order to inhale it, internally, there's a way in which it must be processed in order for you to internalize it?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Yeah, the aloe plant itself was designed with some protections by God, where he put some protections on the inside, which is poisonous to us as human beings. So we have to extract that once we tear the leaf apart, and then we have to be very careful about processing it also, or you can lose the properties that actually make it work. So yes, there's a certain type of procedure that you have to go through to make it safe to ingest.
Okay. So tell us more about, so now here's your mother. She's feeling good. And, I noticed a little guy on the yes. bottle with the Gap pill. He looked like he's full of joy. And I'm sure she was jumping for joy when that happened. And, just speaking of what you just shared, mine was the opposite outcome. And I think that's how I found you, is because 10 years ago, this is 2018, in 2008, I lost my mother to kidney failure. And I remember being so saddened, and I ran across your name and the products and services, and I immediately called you, I think back in 2009 or 10, and I shared with you what I had been through, and you said, I wished I would have known prior to that, because I could have helped your mother, and now I understand why, because we were just told that, and we can jump into that diabetes, that it started with diabetes, and from the diabetes it didn't get better. It ended up, she was on dialysis, and she passed away due to kidney failure. And when you share with me, there's a lot of things that we can do health-wise that we don't have to deteriorate and get to that point. Explain what you mean, because we were told that, if you don't get a kidney transplant, there's nothing you can do. If you have diabetes, it's genetics and it's your DNA, and there's nothing you can do. And you said that's not true. So explain to the viewers what your discovery and your information has found, and what type of people that you have helped and seen the results after they tried some of your products and the knowledge that you have researched.
Absolutely. Would love to. As you said, so-called diabetes is one of the most pervasive types of disease that leads to so many different things. The number one killer, of course, you know, is heart disease and high blood pressure. Those kinds of things lead to the killer, number one killer of people today. That's heart disease. So I wanted to, but what really struck me as, you know, as I said before, I was in the insurance business and running that business. I knew nothing about natural herbal products.
Okay.
Absolutely. So, but then when I got into it, I began to learn that so many of our people were suffering with this and having their legs cut off, losing their eyesight,
yes,
and like your mother ending up on dialysis and then losing their lives, or even getting on dialysis and then having the amputations. All of these kind of things was happening, and so for some reason it got into my very soul, if you will, of what was going on out there. And you know, sometimes that happens. Sometimes God put us. You search for where you're supposed to be in life.
Right.
And I thought I was supposed to be where I was, but then I realized slowly that I was in the wrong place. So then I began to study herbology. And I went, you know, I studied, whenever I do anything, I take it on wholeheartedly. So I began to study this herbology, and I learned, and then I began to really concentrate on diabetes. Okay. And then I began to ask some serious questions. Number one, what is so-called diabetes? What is it?
Let's start there. What is it? Because we hear a lot of things, especially among the African-American community.
Right. And it's very simple. You know, I said it over 38 years ago, and they told me I didn't know what I was talking about. You know, in other words, shut up and go over in the corner. But I said there was really no such thing as diabetes. There's only high sugar levels in the blood.
Wait a minute, repeat that again.
Yes.
Wait a minute, because now you're defying the American Diabetes Association. You said there's no such thing as diabetes?
There is no such thing. And now I attended a class. You know, of course, we have to stay up on medical reports and this kind of thing that we have to take classes on. Now they're actually admitting that it's high sugar levels in the blood. That's all it is.
Okay.
So I was right then, and I'm right now. They're still, of course, they're still promoting this thing as diabetes because, of course, you know, it's an industry, and it makes a lot of money. But the thing is that the truth is now there that there's only high sugar levels in the blood. And I want to go through a little series to have your audience and you yourself also answer the questions. And I think you and I was talking about this slowly the other day.
Okay.
So I began to ask those questions. What is diabetes, number one? So when I found out it was high sugar levels in the blood, my next question was, how did the sugar get in the blood?
So you're saying, how did the sugar get into... I'm going to use myself as an example because when we talk about other people, they get offended. But I can't be offended at myself. So if I were to ask myself, how did the sugar get in my bloodstream? Like when I was telling you I was having headaches this summer. Well, it got there because I was eating some sugary foods and drinks. Absolutely.
When we, and everyone out there that's listening all around the world, wherever they're listening to your show, I want them to ask themselves a question. When you check your sugar, most people check their sugar at some time. You know, they stick themselves and they get this little bit of blood.
Right.
And then they put it under the machine. Well, here's the question. What makes the machine register?
I don't know. What makes it register?
It's not the blood. It's the sugar in the blood.
Oh, okay. So we're not taking the blood level. We're taking the sugar level in the blood.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what makes the machine register. So if that's true, then the question now comes up, which we just asked. Who put the sugar in the blood?
So
Answer,
if I'm being responsible, I would have to look in the mirror and say, I put the sugar there.
absolutely.
Okay.
There's no other way that the sugar can get in the blood. It's not hereditary because, think about it, your parents didn't put that sugar there in your blood. There's no little green men running around putting sugar in your blood. So the only one that puts the sugar in the blood is you do. You put the sugar in the blood. So how did you put it in? And the answer is
through the things that I was eating and drinking.
eating and drinking. Absolutely.
Okay.
That's the only way. So here's the next question. Who controls your sugar?
To answer responsibly, I do. We want to
do.
blame it on others that
Yes.
you made me do that. You gave me that cake and that pie. You invited me to your house. But to be responsible, I did.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
You put the sugar in the blood by what you eat and what you drink. And so my next question was, if that's true, then that tells me that you can be diabetic whenever you want.
Say that again?
Well, if it's true that you put the sugar in the blood,
Okay.
and it's true that, then so we know that you control what's going into your body.
Right.
And if that's true, then that tells me that you could be diabetic whenever you want.
Oh, so I'm turning it on and off.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay, so the power lies within me.
Yes.
Okay, well,
And I
I
tested
choose
the
not
theory.
to be diabetic. So
Yes.
how do I go from there?
Okay.
But it's hard sometimes because
No.
now I'm going to ask the question that people want to ask. Is sugar an addiction? Because if I've been doing this for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, then now I'm addicted. I can't control it. So it's not my fault anymore.
Of course, we would like to, again, like you say, blame it on someone else.
Okay.
But the truth is that yes, sugar is addictive, but you can make changes to make sure that it doesn't happen. So what I did is I said, okay, if that's true, after I got to this kind of information, I'm saying, well, how do I make myself, and of course I wasn't diabetic, but how do I make myself diabetic right now? I mean, if I could sit here right now in the next 20 minutes and make myself diabetic. So then I realized that there were some foods that actually triggers more quickly, or should I say get in the blood quicker than other foods. So I found out that there were 4 major foods that would put sugar in your blood very quickly. And the thing at the top of the list is bananas.
Oh, really?
Yes.
But what's the difference between man-made sugar and natural? Because banana has natural sugars.
Right. But it's concentrated sugar.
Concentrated.
Right. And that's the problem. Some foods have concentrated sugar. In other words, it's really concentrated. So when you eat that, a person that has sugar, if you eat that, then you're immediately going to increase your sugar level. 50 points, 100 points, it'll go up 200 points, just a half a banana.
Okay.
So then I learned oranges was the next one.
Okay.
So you can't do oranges or orange juice either because it also is concentrated sugar. Because think about it. When you go to your doctor and the doctor says, well, you say to my doctor, oh, my doctor, my sugar level, I'm taking the insulin, but sometimes my sugar level go low. So what does the doctor tell you? The doctor says, well, drink some orange juice. So why would he tell you to drink orange juice? Because, at that time.
Because
the answer is because it brings the sugar up very quickly.
So are you saying that a person who right now has been diagnosed with diabetes, bananas and sugars, bananas and oranges is something they should stay away from, but it doesn't mean that bananas and oranges within itself is bad?
Correct. That's absolutely. Anyone that has sugar or that is pre-diabetic should not be taking that product because they're going to raise their sugar levels.
Got
so it's absolutely a no-no.
Okay, got you. I just wanted the viewers to understand that we're not saying bananas and oranges because we know those are fruits that carries tremendous amount of vitamins and minerals. We're just saying that if you've already got high sugar levels, these are things that you should temporarily stay away from until you have control. And then you can control, like he's shared with you, your bananas and oranges intake. Okay. So that was the first thing was bananas with high concentrated sugars. Oranges was the second. What's third and fourth?
Yeah, orange also with orange juice.
Orange juice, okay.
Thing. But the next thing is grapes.
Is that any kind of grapes? All grapes?
Any kind of grape. One grape can raise your sugar level high, level 50 points or whatever.
Wow.
One grape. And the next thing, of course, avocado can play a role in this, or avocado, any of those kinds of foods that make the blood thick, you have to take in consideration, because think about this for a moment. Where is the sugar?
It's in the blood.
It's in the blood. So if sugar is in the blood and you make your blood thick, then every time you go check it, what's going to happen?
You're going to see high concentrated levels?
Actually, that's exactly right. So then it behooves us to make sure we keep our blood clean from all of the debris so that we don't have concentrated, thick, dirty blood, because the sugar is always going to be in there.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that about avocados because I'm looking at that as a vegetable that is, well, I guess it is fatty. It's a fat. It's an oil. Because they make avocado oil, which they tell you is good for you, but it also it can be a heavy oil, so I can see that in the bloodstream. That's very interesting. Okay.
Oh yeah, dairy products will do the same thing. White flour products, a lot of those kind of things, and of course, white sugar will do the same thing.
Interesting. So the white sugar, that's not that wouldn't be number one on the list.
It will, but I wanted to cover those particular ones there first because most people are not aware of those.
Absolutely.
And after counseling hundreds of thousands of people, I realized that it is these fruits that's keeping their sugar level up, and not even though they know, most people pretty much know that white sugar is going to raise your sugar.
Right.
But they don't know about these particular foods that we talked about.
You're absolutely right. I mean, it's like it's a hidden knowledge that you're going to the doctor saying, well, I'm not eating foods with white sugar. I'm not eating a lot of flour, enriched flour, but my sugar levels are still high. But hidden within your refrigerator and in your home, you're eating every single day your bananas, orange juice, drinking your orange juice, because we all know that's an American favorite, OJ. We call it OJ. And, oh, my God, we don't live without our grapes. And definitely now avocado has risen to being a very popular, side food with the guacamole. But I never knew that these particular foods were high levels of concentrated sugar for the diabetic person.
Yes, and they are. And sugar substitutes, we have to add that there because the sugar substitutes can be 500 times sweeter than the white sugar itself.
But why is that when they tell us to substitute for the white sugar? Why would now that be higher than the white sugar if the people making the products telling us this is your alternative, like your Equal and your the one in the yellow pack, Sweet and Low, and all those Splenda, why is that they're higher concentrated than your sugar if they're supposed to be a substitute?
They are drugs, and remember, these drugs are made with artificial material, and they act in the body because you can tell whenever you take one, it is much sweeter than sugar itself because you only need a small amount.
You know what, I wondered about that, because when I use the Equal, I usually use 3 or 4 packs in a cup of coffee. But if I use the Splenda or the Equal, I only need 1 pack. And I thought I was doing myself a favor, like, I'm doing really good. Instead of these 3 packs of granulated sugar, I'm now using 1 little pack of Equal or Splenda. So I was giving myself a pat on the back.
Well, please don't, because they can be one of the most dangerous foods that you can put in, and it does raise the sugar, and it can raise the blood pressure at the same time.
Oh, my goodness.
So you have to be very careful there in using those. They may be one of the most dangerous types of foods that you can put in. So we just wanted to get those out. And in fact, what I did 38 years ago, I came out with the 8 most dangerous foods.
Okay.
And that was the white sugar, the white flour, because white flour is sugar to the body. A lot of people don't know that either. They don't know that a cookie, a cake or a pie, or even a bowl of cream of wheat is a bowl of sugar to a person who has so-called diabetes.
Now you're messing with my cream of wheat. Why is cream of wheat considered a sugar in the body?
Because it translates as sugar in the body, and so you have to use the whole grain. That's the key. Use the whole grain oatmeal, not the processed meal that you get in many cases in the grocery store. That can translate to sugar very quickly in the body.
So you're saying that when we eat white flour, whether it's in a baking form or whether it's or any cooking form, the body will convert it to sugar once
Absolutely.
it goes into the bloodstream?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Oh, so if we're eating sugar, then on top of that, eating the cookies, the candies, the pancake, so we're getting double the amount of sugar in one meal when we're eating breakfast.
Can we say triple and double triple? That's normally what's happening, and that's why so many of our children are diabetic today, because no one's telling them that, they may go out to a restaurant and then they get the big stack of pancakes, they pour syrup over it, then they eat they drink the orange juice.
Exactly.
And that's why so many of them have these high sugar levels.
Yeah, we are finding that obesity and type 1, type 2 diabetes is now not just in adults anymore, because years ago when I was growing up, when you got 40s and 50s, we thought those were aging signs that you've just reached that age and you automatically got it. But now I see and hear, people getting it, like you said, as young as 6, 7, and 8 years old. So now that explains in ADD and ADHD, all those different childhood problems that mothers are having now. So a lot of it can contribute to an overload of sugar in our bloodstream and in our children.
And absolutely, and I'm glad you said that, because all of the mothers out there that's listening right now, and the fathers, of course, they need to know this. And I really commend you for allowing someone like myself to come on your show to bring this out, because they really don't know how to help themselves, and no one else is helping them, and the drugs can't help, because it's actually, they're putting this in every day of their lives.
Wow.
And promoting this so they can't get well. And so once we know this, then we can make subtle changes. So I came out with the 8 most dangerous foods: the white sugar, the white flour, the sodas, coffee, tea, orange juice, dairy products. Drinking too much fluid was also a major contributing factor, and we can talk about that a little later, but that was a major contributing factor. And then junk food in general were the 8 most dangerous foods that actually is making so many of these, 29 million people with diabetes and another 79 million that are now pre-diabetic. that will become diabetic if they don't learn this kind of information that you're giving out on your show right now.
So tell me about the dairy. Like, I mean, I grew up with my cheddar cheese, and it's Thanksgiving is coming up. We love our mac and cheese. What? Tell me, why is that considered a form of sugar? Is it considered that to the bloodstream too, or what is it doing to my blood?
Well, two things. One, you mentioned before about the avocado, the oils that are in there. Remember?
Okay, exactly. Okay.
Yeah, the fat that you have in the dairy is a major contributing factor that makes the blood very thick.
Okay.
But the dairy itself creates mucus. It is the number one underlying food that creates mucus. Mucus also clogs up the blood that makes the blood thick, because mucus is a thick substance in the body, and it clogs up the blood. So, therefore, again, every time these people are going to check the blood and they're saying, oh, my sugar level is still up, I can't get it down, it's because they can't get the sugar out of the blood because of these particular types of foods.
But there's some good mucus. Like, I mean, I know during the winter or you have the summer cold and the mucus is coming out. Don't you want to blow it out, get it out of your body? What's the difference with this mucus versus the mucus, like you were saying, the dairy causes the body to form a thicker mucus that is more toxin to the body? Like, explain that to me.
No, mucus is mucus.
Okay.
There's no good one.
Oh, okay.
Well, let me put it another way. God put it in the body so that we will protect the organs, so that when we are doing things that we're not aware of, like putting in a lot of acid foods, or let's say you drink a soda or some kind of acid drink, and those things can burn the organs or burn the bottom of your stomach. So it makes the body produce mucus to protect the inside lining of our bodies. So, but when you overproduce that mucus, then it creates all kinds of other problems.
Oh,
so when you put in dairy, then of course now you got an overflow of this mucus. So they simply just give it different names, but there's all kinds of different diseases that comes with it. Because if the mucus is in the head, then they call that what? Sinus.
Oh, yeah, and if it's in the lungs, you get a bronchitis. Wow.
Or if it's in the stomach, it's stomachache. Or then if it's in the colon, it's colitis or ileitis. So it's the same mucus, but it's creating all of these diseases.
You got to be kidding. Wait a minute. That's considered, all of that is a form of mucus?
Yes.
Wow.
Mucus that turns into inflammation. Inflammation now causes more problems all over the body.
Okay, I just got a question online that someone just sent in to ask you, can cinnamon help to lower the glucose levels in the body?
Yes, but you've got to be careful with it. You've got to make sure that you have the right one, and it alone is not going to do what we're talking about now. Unless you eliminate those kinds of foods, you still have the problem.
When you said unless you get the right one, so we can't go to the dollar store and get some cinnamon that's been sitting there on that shelf for God knows how long, but maybe go to one of your Whole Food stores and get some fresh cinnamon. Is there a certain type of cinnamon you should look for?
There are certain kinds that you can look for, but yes, you should get cinnamon. There's a lot of it grown in different areas and all kinds of different flavor, different kinds of cinnamon that it might be.
Okay.
Now, there's one that we use in our herbal formulas that would be the right ones. So you have to just get a little bit educated on that. But that alone is not going to do the job.
Oh, okay. Okay, so people need to know that when you're it depends on what condition your health is in on a scale of 1 to 10. Sometimes we ask questions and you may be at a level 10 where another person is at a level 5 and they're not experiencing the same results that you're experiencing, you need to know and find out what levels you're on. How can a person tell what foods will lower their glucose level? That's the next question that one of the viewers are asking. What foods lower glucose levels?
Well, I'd like to answer that and putting it a different way. As I was saying that when I came out with the 8 most dangerous foods that we just went over, and then I found out I had to add those other 4 foods that we talked about in the beginning, the bananas, the grapes, the oranges. I had to add those to that to make it 14 most dangerous foods. So so now we know the 14 most dangerous foods, and that goes back to your question before about eating. So now we know that there's 14 foods. I mean, there can be many other foods, another combination, but normally those are the foods that makes a person so-called diabetic or keep them diabetic. Put them on insulin or keep them on insulin.
Okay.
So what I did was then we have to eat for good health. And basically, when we eat for good health, that means fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, beans and peas, whole grains, white potatoes, sweet potatoes. Eating real food is the answer.
Okay.
Eliminating these particular foods here. So a person will then say to me, well, what kind of fruit can I eat now? Well, it's very simple. You just eliminate the banana, the orange, and the grape, and the avocado, and you can eat everything else.
Okay. And my goodness, it's hundreds of vegetables and fruits that we can choose from in season and out of season. So that shouldn't be difficult at all. I have another question that just come in. The other question is why some overweight people never become diabetics. I'm overweight and I do not have diabetes. What's the answer to that question?
It's very simple. You can be overweight for a lot of reasons. Most people are overweight because they drink too much fluid, believe it or not. And so, in fact, the majority of them. but so that person is not eating these kinds of foods all the time. The kind that we're talking about. Now, if that person began to eat these kinds of foods all the time, doesn't matter whether they're overweight or underweight or malnourished or whatever it is.
Right.
It's like I said, I can set right here, right now, in the next 20 minutes, become a diabetic. Just give me an orange, a banana, a chocolate cake, and a soda, and my sugar level is going to do what?
Rise.
Go through the roof. So if they check my sugar at that particular moment, they're going to say, oh, you need to be in the emergency room right now.
Well, explain to me the levels, because sometimes you can go to the doctor and, man, we really got to have you back again because there's so many questions I want to ask you. And right now we're only dealing with, one type of challenges that we suffer as Americans and, as people, but especially in America. But one of the things that I hear that people will say, my doctors say I'm pre-diabetic. And then some people hear them say, I'm type 1, I'm type 2. And then there's the next level where forget the type 1, type 2 and all of that. They tell you it's time for you to begin to take insulin or begin to go on the dialysis machine. How do you know that you're in the pre-stage, in the mid-crisis, or your kidneys is getting ready to shut down? Is there a way to find that out, those steps, so that we can get ourselves back on track?
Absolutely. And the thing is that it's fuzzy, and I'll say it's fuzzy because some of these terms are used indiscriminately, and sometimes they're used. They use them in the wrong context.
Okay.
Even the medical doctors do that sometimes, because normally at first they diagnose a person who should be type 1 diabetic, that's onset when they're at birth. normally their pancreas is not producing insulin. That's what makes them so-called type 1 diabetic.
Okay.
But then nowadays, they're diagnosing people as having type 1 diabetes because they're not able to get their sugar level down. That's confusing because that person is really not type 1. That person is still type 2 because it's still being produced by the foods that that person is eating.
Wow.
So many times I will counsel children who come in and they say, oh, you're type 1 and you must be on insulin for the rest of your life. And that's not the case because we changed their diet. We began to help them to clean the blood, and all of a sudden, this child has normal sugar levels.
Mm.
So that's not true. So you can see there's a lot of confusion there. Pre-diabetic, I look at that as saying, I laugh when I hear it because I really look at it. They give a number to it and say, oh, if your sugar level is at such whatever level, if your sugar level is above 120 or above that, then you can be pre-diabetic. But here's the thing. The thing is that being pre-diabetic is almost like being pre-pregnant.
There's no such thing.
Right. You can't be. You're either diabetic or you're not.
Okay.
So if the sugar levels are remaining high consistently, then most likely you have high sugar levels in the blood.
Wow.
And we should begin to call it that because many people will say, oh, my diabetes. It's not yours. So don't say that. And actually, you should be saying it's high sugar levels in the blood. Now, how do I get this sugar out of my blood? And that's why when I developed that product called GAP, I developed it with the mindset that it was a blood cleanser to help clean the blood. So then I realized that what happened to my mother was that she took the pill and it began to help the body to clean the blood. So it cleaned the sugar out of the blood. And as a result, what happened?
She
the
got
blood
better.
sugar came down to normal.
Okay. And
No
how long does one have to, if they were to go to your website and order some of these blood cleansers, and I know you have other products too that help, what would you say is a normal turnaround time, providing it's not like they can take this and continue to eat loads and loads of sugar daily, but say they're weaning themselves off the sugar. Maybe they was having 3 Cokes a day and now they're down to 1 and they're taking your formula. What is a good turnaround time, or how long should they take it, and what are the evidence that now the blood has been cleansed or the results of it being cleansed?
And that's a very good question. I'm glad you asked. And we found out that it takes approximately 30 days to clean the blood.
No way.
Absolutely. It takes approximately 30 days because the product starts working in 10 minutes.
Wow. No wonder I felt better. Like I said, 2 weeks after I started taking them in the morning times, I wasn't having those chronic headaches. And then I didn't go, sometimes when you have them, they used to tell us when I was at work, go drink a cup of coffee, it'll help, and of course you go dump the sugar in the coffee, drink the coffee, and voila, the headache went away. So it was like I was training my body to stimulate it with a cup of coffee to mask the symptom versus get rid of it. Why is that I can drink that coffee with the sugar and it go away?
It's a stimulant. You see, it's caffeine in there also. But then a few minutes later, 10 minutes later, your sugar level is through the roof.
Yeah. Or I'm hyper.
Yes.
I got my we call it don't bother me till I get that morning coffee, like you need that boost.
Yes, but that's normally what's happening. But your sugar level is really high. Most time you don't know it, and then the eyes begin to dim. You may begin to wave. You may have an upset stomach or frequent urination. All of these things can set in, and you may not even know it's as high as it is. A lot of people are walking around and don't know that their sugar level is that high. But
Wow.
you asked another question. You said, well, so number one, they begin to take the gap. They change the foods. That's number one. Change the food. Eliminate those 8 or 14 foods I talk about.
Okay.
Begin to eat real foods. Next thing is clean the blood. So clean the sugar out of the blood. That pill also helps clean the cholesterol out of the blood, the triglycerides out of the blood. So it also, by doing that, it also helps you to get better circulation going in your body.
Oh, that's good.
So by doing that and a person changing that, we know that we believe that you can conquer sugar in 30 days or less.
Wow. I have 2 more questions that have come in, and then after that we can talk about how people can get a hold of you and you can introduce some of your products. The questions state, when a person have had bypass surgery is done, why does diabetes suddenly disappear then?
Well, remember, we're talking here about cleaning the blood, which is one of the most important factors there is. So what do? They normally take that vein or from the legs, which is what? Clean, and they put it in the chest. So now you don't have the clogged up veins in the arteries, right?
Right.
So now you're in a state where now your blood can be clean for at least for a while, and you don't have these occlusions or the clogging up that's there. And that doesn't happen in every case, too. We need to make sure we say that. That doesn't happen in every case.
Absolutely, right.
So, but for some people, it may happen that way. But that person still needs to clean the blood.
Well, let me ask you, that person says, before I do heart surgery and my arteries are clogged up like this, because I've heard that you can't unclog that hardened lining that is around your arteries. Is that a myth?
Yes, it is. And in fact, it's absolutely not true.
So that wall around your arteries that you done clogged up for the last 20 years with a lot of white sugar and dairy, because that's what that is.
Yeah,
a lot of that food, and it's just hardened like cement on a ground. And so the doctor's saying, like you said, let's bypass, let's go get one of your new arteries, take out this other one and put in a new one. But if you didn't fix the problem, you're going to clog up the new where they started. So how do you get that thick lining that is clogging your arteries? What are some of the products that you offer that can begin working on it to unclog it?
We have a product called Cardio 1000.
Cardio 1000.
Cardio is one of the best products in the world, natural products that supports the function of the heart and the arteries and along. You see, here's one thing that you need to do, and I'm glad you said that. You can't clear it up if the blood itself is dirty.
Okay.
So you have to have what? Clean blood first, and then you put in those substances that can wash this out or begin to break up this hardness, which is like you said, it's hardened foods that's turned into has been crystallized, and so you begin to break that up. The cleaner the blood, the more the natural substances that are going through, and for years, for 1,000 years, they've been making formulas that have that can help dissolve these kinds of plaque that builds up in our body and anywhere in the brain, the arteries, wherever around the joints. You can break these up and get them out of the body.
Wow. Well, Dr. Johnson, tell us how to get a hold of you if we want to, especially and with weight loss. We didn't even touch on that. That was the other question. So I definitely got to have you back on the show because that's a huge, interesting topic that people love to discuss. But tell people how to get a hold of you and how to order the Body Healer, the Gap, and the Immune Force products and some of the other cardio products that you have on your website.
Yes, and that's one of the best ways to reach or to go to our website, which is at aloeman.com. That's
Okay.
ALOEMAN.com. You can go there. We made provisions on the website where we have a health concern section where people can, if certain ailments that may be wrong, if they want to look at it, when they're looking for support or cleansers for that particular area, they can go there and get that information. So they can also call me personally, and I don't mind giving out my personal cell number because I counsel people all the time.
Are you sure you want to give out your personal cell?
I mean, people call me from everywhere.
Okay.
England, Canada.
Okay.
It's 305 778 0970. They can call me there, and of course, if I can't answer right then we always make sure that we call the person back to give them the information. And then, of course, they can reach me on my email. They can email me at drJLJohnson@AOL.com.
You all heard it here from the QETV live show with my special guest, Dr. J.L. Johnson. Please, please, please go on his website, the aloeman.com. Aloe is spelled ALOE. I have his products, and like I said, I am taking them. This is one of my favorites right here. It's the Gap Pill, like he shared with you. Within 30 days, you can see physical and visible results. Your body will begin to feel rejuvenated. You will feel a difference. You will start the healing process. He also has talked about some of the 4 foods that we were not first aware of, that if you are a diabetic right now, or that word pre-diabetic, or if you are living in a diabetic state, be very, very careful of the consumption of, he talked about bananas, oranges, grapes, and avocados, because it can even raise the blood pressure, concentrated level, and send them off the roof. And we don't want you to do that, okay? We want you to take the Gap Pill. We want you to take some of the cardiovascular products that he has, so that you can get your heart, your arteries, and your blood cleansed and healed, so that you're not being have these elevated levels. Because if you don't take care of your body, we know that these diseases could lead to literally death, and they call high blood pressure the silent killer. Anyway, you can walk around, have high levels of blood pressures, and you don't know it. And we hear it all the time that people just died in their sleep or fell sudden death. So we don't want that. We want you to hear about things like this. He also shared with you, and he's not just pulling your leg. I literally called his cell phone number, and his number is 305-778-0970. Give him a call, but mainly go to his website, and underneath that box, that drop-down box where it says health concern, write in what your health concern is. Ask him a question and allow him to get back to you. Answer the question so you can be on the road to good health. Again, go to the aloeman.com website and start your 30-day supply of the Gap Pill. He has a lot of specials on his website. And let him know you watch QETV Live show with your host, Miss H. Dr. Johnson, I cannot thank you enough. It was an honor. It was a privilege. And I just have to ask you, will you come back on again and be my guest?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'd love to teach, and I'll be more than glad. And I want to thank you very much for having me on and giving a platform and giving out this information to the public.
Oh, it's my honor. Now, the biggest next thing what I want to do is we're going to invite you here in the D.C. area. We want you here doing a show. So, again, I'm out of time, but thank you, viewers. Thank you, Dr. Johnson, for watching QETV Live show with your host and with your special guest today, Dr. J.L. Johnson, the Aloe Man. Love you. Have a great day.
Thank you.